Yeah. What's going on, faithfuls? This is your boy Mike from Nothing But Niners, man. Me and Nick are here right now, and we got to talk about this thing going on with Reuben Foster. You guys already know where to find us and all. We're on Twitter at Nothing But 9ERS. We're on Snapchat, like _NF. Nick is 49er Faithful 365. Guys, we got a little situation going on here with one of the stars, one of the young talents of this team, and Reuben Foster. Second time in a month's time that he's been arrested, man. First time was from the internet. Another charge is coming up. First, it was supposedly domestic violence. We can't even get any kind of. Next thing I know, someone saying that an assault rifle was a possession of an assault rifle was included, and now they're saying that Jennifer Lee Chan is saying that there was also possession of marijuana. Now, the good thing is that this happened in California, so if there is possession of marijuana, depending on how much it is, it's not that big of a deal. But the continuous basis, when he was in Alabama and he got arrested with the marijuana, people were pretty pissed off and said, just go to California and it's fine, right? Now that he's in California and he's getting in trouble, they want to throw in there, hey, by the way, there's marijuana, there's marijuana. And that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. So before I get into my bag and I get into how I'm feeling, I want to open the floor up to Nick because everyone's feeling something a little bit different. We have an article out there already too, guys, if you guys want to check it out. But it's all reiterating what we did not do is speculate on the charges. What we did not do is speculate on the fines and things like that. So Eric Branch was the first person that I saw. Eric and another woman by the name of Sarah Ravani. Sarah Ravani and Eric Branch did a dual report on this. And their report said possible no bail. No bail. If there's no bail involved in something, it is a very serious problem. Okay? You can get arrested for a lot of different things. And I've seen bail set at $1 million. But for there to be no bail, that's something so serious that they don't want you out, period. Okay, so that sent my heart flying through my chest. But again, retweeted Eric Branch's original tweet with this story in it, and she said bail was set at $75,000, and he's either already paid it or he's in the process of paying it. And so that's a very, very big difference than saying that there's no bail and then there's $75,000 bail. And so what we're seeing is a bunch of speculation. We refuse to do that here at Nothing But Niners. Okay. And it's not that we're some golden standard or things like that, but this kind of stuff gets tricky. I want to remind people of what happened with Tremaine Brock. I'm sorry. Last year, 49ers before the offseason, when Trent Baalke, not last year, but the season before, he gets arrested and they say it's possible domestic violence and he's cut immediately. He's cut. And what happens? His case was no case. It was thrown that there was domestic violence included in that. Yet I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick. Because I'm going to start going. This kind of stuff pisses me off, so I don't want to be like that. Let me open up the floor, my man Nick. Go ahead, brother. You get your shit off, man.
Yeah, I mean, just like you were just saying, Mike, was we can't really. This is all speculation right now, so we can't speculate. And basically, this is where it comes into effect, where proven it or innocent until proven guilty type of thing. We know that John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Jed York, our whole front office is going to do as much diligence as they can to find out and see how much truth there is into this with police reports and all that stuff as well. If you go back to you're talking about Tremaine Brock. If you go back to the Tremaine Brock situation where he was cut and one of the reporters asked him, is this the type of standard? Is this the type of standard that you are going to be is this the type of standard you're going to be holding towards these players? And he says, well, every situation is different. It'll all be looked at differently. But yes, we are trying to set this type of standard and culture. So if this is true, I'm a little nervous. I think that, if he is wrong, the thing that makes me worried is, like you said, it went from, I think $50,000 bail is a misdemeanor. It's as high as it can go. If you go above a $50,000 bail, it's considered a felony, I believe, in the state of California.
But they can $50,000 for a misdemeanor, and let's say it was that rifle, that supposed rifle, that could add $25,000 to it also. There's so many different. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So that's what I was going to say is we don't know really what the the actual charges are or what he's actually arrested on. It's all speculation. So either way, man, this is sad. This is a second arrest, and I understand that we say weed in Alabama is different than weed in California.
But guns in Alabama are different than guns in California also. Guns,
right.
I live on the border. I live on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I can walk into a Walmart right now with $250 and buy a shotgun and ammo and go home with it sitting in my back seat. If I drive here, I go to jail for 5 years. And if they wanted to be dicks about it, they can add the ammo into it. So go ahead, man.
No, I mean, completely. I completely understand what you're saying, but the gist of it is he's a young player. He's had some issues outside of college. And should we be worried? I think we should. Two different arrests in less than 2 months. I think that we should definitely be aware and a little bit nervous about it. But then again, I trust John Lynch and I trust this organization to do what is right for this player as well as the team. I just hope – I've already seen it out there on Twitter and everywhere else that, Alden number two. I don't think – I mean, and they can say that because it's pretty much the same type of charges. One was with a knife, one was with a gun, one was with alcohol, one was with weed. So either way, it really depends on what the speculation comes out or what the decision comes out as to what he really is charged with. I seen somebody say domestic violence you can't be charged with unless it's, even if it's not your girlfriend or something like that. But I think domestic violence is
domestic violence can happen between neighbors.
Right.
So that's not, it doesn't have to, you don't have to be in a domestic relationship. Like that's, never mind. Go ahead.
So that's what I was just going to say. I just wanted to correct them and say domestic violence can be with anybody. It's not just with a family member. So
I don't even know. So are you like another Rombo? I don't know if that's like, are we echoing what Rombo? I'm looking at the comments here in the live chat, and it's saying, are you like means? I don't know if you're talking about the format. Rombo does have a YouTube platform, if that's what you're saying, or if you're talking, I'm not abreast of what Rombo feels on this topic. So if that's what you're talking about, I'm not quite sure. Josh Anderson has, all right, so we got Ryan Hudson saying, what the fuck, possession of an AR. I don't know, man. Like I said, guns are different from state to state. He's a young Alabama guy. And down south, the gun laws are very lenient. What if this is his own gun? You know what I mean? That it was in the back of it. I don't know what's happening. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. It's going to sound like that, but we don't know the facts of anything yet. I have never heard of anyone being arrested on suspicion of domestic violence. Either arrested on domestic violence, that's what you're charged with, or you're not. I've never heard of suspicion of domestic violence. I've just never heard of that before. And then, you got the emotions, yeah, this hurts and all that kind of stuff. Something that's so intriguing to me, man. So intriguing. He says he's innocent until proven guilty. Just remember that. Not in 2018. Not on Twitter. I've seen 49er fans judge people so fucking fast that it pisses me off. And I'm not saying this young man is innocent, but I'm damn sure not going to say he's guilty. We don't know. That's the facts. We don't know. But you already see the Alden 2.0 conversations. I saw a video of someone burning a Foster jersey already. Like, what the fuck? There's already a video on Twitter of some clown burning a Reuben Foster jersey. It's not innocent until proven guilty because there's a bunch of dumbasses who they're so self-righteous. There's so many people out there who have never done anything wrong, who have never owned a gun, who have never smoked weed, who've never gotten into an argument with their neighbor. All of a sudden, everyone's judging. You got judge and jury amongst the 49er fan base. We do this shit. I'm saying we. The 49er fans, the faithful, do this shit all the time, every single chance they get. Immediately. As soon as a 49ers player is in the headline, Twitter doesn't erupt with, oh, I wonder what happened. Oh, man, I can't wait to the details. No, you see people cut him. We got to get rid of him. We got to start drafting new guys. That's it. He's a sham. We should have known better from the rip. What the fuck is wrong with people? Why are people
Just like you said, man, they're clowns. Like they're either they don't watch football or they don't know what's going on in regular life. It's not even just about football. Um, it is truly innocent until proven guilty, man, with anything. I mean, you can look at some people that are on charges right now that are out free right now because they're arraigned or whatever it may be until they're completely proven guilty on that charge. So I'm taking this like a grain of salt, man. I really am. Until I hear more details and see actual stuff, you know that some type of footage is going to come out. You know that all the truth will come out eventually, sooner or later. Am I worried? I'm a little worried because of the fact that this is a second arrest in less than 2 months. Am I saying cut him? No.
let me paint a picture for you, okay? Now this is, you guys know, all right. I'm gonna pull back the emotional shit because this kind of stuff does bother me. This kind of stuff really does bother me. From the charges, the allegations, and the fucking people trying to lose weight by jumping to conclusions. How many calories do you burn jumping to conclusions? But whatever. So let me get in my conspiracy theory shit, right? Reuben Foster gets in trouble in Alabama, and all of 49er Twitter screams he needs to come to California. Weed is legal in Cali. That's where he needs to be, right? John Lynch reads it. He sees it. Hey, Ruben, is there any chance we can move you and maybe a buddy or two of yours out here to California where if you testing you right now, we prefer you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, at least if you get caught with it here, it's not a big deal. Reuben Foster says, okay, that's fine. And he's an Alabama kid. What if, here's my conspiracy theory, he's moving his shit into his place and a neighbor sees him with a gun in his hand. Because, see, I can get out of my car with a gun in my hand because I live in Pennsylvania. And I can walk into my house and my neighbors can't call the cops because it's legal for me to do that here. Right? But you can't have a gun put together and walk down the street with it. You can't be seen. You get what I'm saying? So what if he's in an apartment building, right? Maybe he hasn't bought a house in California. He's in an apartment building. He's got his gun from Alabama in his hand that he's taking into an apartment that are already registered to him. And someone calls the police on him. His neighbor calls the police. Suddenly, it's suspicion of domestic violence, right? That's your suspicion part because they can't confirm anything happened with the neighbor. And then the AR that they're talking about, or the gun, what I don't even know where I got AR from. It's a comment that this gun being involved, that explains that. And of course, they're going to find weed because that's the reason he left Alabama in the first place, so he can come out here and smoke weed. What if, how many people are going to still be like, we need to cut him? We need to draft Smith. We need to draft Tremaine Edmonds. But how many people are still going to be saying that because of this situation? That's what happened? I'm asking you, Nick. Am I crazy? Is that something that is in the realm of possibility? He came over from Alabama with his gun and he's going inside his apartment. Someone called the cops on him because he had a gun. They're nervous. I fucking call the cops too if I'm not used to seeing that shit.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it can be exactly the same way as what you're saying. It could be easily from carrying it from his car to his apartment and somebody sees it and they call. But I just don't understand in that scenario where suspicion of domestic violence comes up. Domestic violence, you have to actually lay your hands on somebody. So calling somebody, I mean, I could see with the possession of the weapon, maybe he was domestic violence and the weapon was in his vehicle. Something on those terms. But there was a few seconds there where you cut out and I wasn't sure what you were saying. You just kept cutting in and out. I don't know if you're getting that issue on your end as well, but apologize if everybody else is. I mean, I can understand what you're saying. I mean, we don't know what the hell's going on. We can all sit here and make accusations of what we think happened or what it is, but the thing that throws me off is the suspicion of domestic violence. I've never heard of that ever in my life. I've never heard of suspicion of domestic violence. It's either you fucking punch somebody in the face or put your hands on somebody, or you didn't. That's domestic violence. Right.
You think back to even Bruce Miller's thing, right? He got into an argument with his girlfriend and threw her phone, and that was domestic violence.
Yep.
You know, but that was domestic violence. That wasn't suspicion of domestic violence. That's actually what the thing was. So those are kind of this is people have got to calm down, man. We've got to take a step back. Am I still breaking up? Am I still popping in and out on you, Nick?
It's a little bit here and there. I'm not sure what's going on.
Are you going to bed, sweetheart? Come here.
Zach wants to know if we're taking phone calls.
All right.
Do you have your Bluetooth?
You. Good night, baby.
Hi, Princess. Good night.
Say hi.
Hi.
Say good night.
Good night.
Tell them what your team is.
49ers.
All right. Go, baby. Go to bed.
Mike, do you have your Bluetooth with you?
I can go. I can run and grab my Bluetooth if you want to take calls. We can absolutely do that. Let people get their stuff off their minds. You know. Come on, really quick. I love you. You won. Look, say good. Tell them what your team is.
49ers.
That's right. Good night, baby. All right, Nick.
Yeah. So
don't call yet, guys. Let me go grab my Bluetooth. All right.
Yeah. So, guys, like Mike said, man, we're sitting here. We're talking about the breaking news of Reuben Foster being arrested. Suspicion of domestic violence, as well as a possible possession of a firearm. I'm not sure what type of firearm it is. If you guys want to give us a call, once Mike gets back with his Bluetooth, I put the number in the chat as well. But you can give us a call. It's 628-888-3443. And we can take those calls. See what you guys are feeling right now. See what your energy level is right now. Are you depressed? Do you think, are you one of those people overreacting? 888-3443.
All right.
And
when I turned the Bluetooth on, it did that. So that's the way I was looking at the live chat. I'll pull it up on the computer so I can get out of that.
Yeah, no problem. Are you one of those ones that are saying to cut Ruben Foster now? Doesn't matter.
And by the way, if people do feel that way, because I don't, and because I'm so adamantly against that, I don't want you guys to be afraid to call in. Feel free to call in if that's how you feel. Okay, but I want to hear from everybody. I'm not one of those guys who my way is the right way and every other opinion is stupid. Convince me. If you truly feel like Reuben Foster isn't worth the trouble, let me know. Because let me tell you guys something, man. Talent is going to weigh into any decision in the NFL. You are not cutting Tom Brady because Tom Brady got caught with marijuana. You get what I'm saying? However, if it's Brandon Fusco, he's gone. So talent absolutely matters. And Reuben Foster is on the verge of being an all-pro player already in his rookie year. So talent absolutely makes a difference in this, guys. So I would love to hear from people. Nick gave the number already, 628-888-3443. You guys can call us. I'm going to pull up the live chat here. So, Nick, you can take it away for a couple of seconds for me. Good night, Princess. Can you close the door? Can you close the door for me?
So I want to hear what people have to say about this because I personally don't think we should cut Reuben Foster, obviously. Talent is definitely going to weigh in on this option. He's young, man. He's going to have to learn. But like I said earlier, the thing that only scares me is this the second time in 2 months, not even 2 months, so a month. But that, excuse me, that's where makes me worry a little bit that whatever John Lynch said to him the first time, or if John Lynch even said anything to him before, maybe it's not weighing as hard on his mind as it should be. This is the kind of things that you also see not only because of a person, but in this situation is you see this type of things where there's not a whole lot of leadership on the team, and you are coming in and you're one of the leaders on an NFL team or a baseball team or a basketball team or things like that with young players. They are the leaders and they play that role outside as well. Not saying that's making him do things like he's doing. I'm just saying that he doesn't have that guidance from going from a college player to having all this type of money in the NFL, doing things extraordinary and at a place that you normally wouldn't do. So I think Ruben is a laid back dude, man. I think you know, for the most part, he's a good dude, and I don't think he purposely probably tried to hurt anybody. But this suspicion is just throwing me off, man. It's really throwing me off. If it said he was charged with domestic violence, I'd probably be a little more worse off than I am right now. But where it's suspicion, I don't got nothing to say about suspicion, man. I mean, I suspect everything.
Yeah. So let's see what's going on, man. People, again, give us a call if you're still watching and you wanna pop in here. Just even if you just want to shout yourself out, tell us you're a Niners fan and just how you feel about the situation. 628-888-3443. We're waiting to hear from you guys. Let us know what you got. We got our first call coming in right now, Nick. I'm going to turn this up. All right. And we're going to get this call going here. Yo, you on the mic with Mike and Nick? Hello? Oh, the call dropped. I got another one here, though. You on with Nothing But Niners. Hello? Hello?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Speak your name. What's your name?
Yeah, dude. People on Twitter are really pissing me off, man. I've been arguing with this guy on Twitter. Twitter handle Niners Nation. It has 70,000 followers, right? And he's telling everybody that Reuben Foster should be released or cut. And I'm arguing with him like he's innocent until proven guilty, right?
Right.
And this kid says, to shed some light on like their viewpoint, he said only in a court of law, which makes no sense. He said only in a court of law.
Well, you see, that's what the issue. Did you hear what he's saying, Nick? You can shake your head, yeah. All right, so that's what the issue is. And let's go back to what I was saying. Only in a court of law are you supposed to be innocent to proven guilty, because society judges people immediately. And I hate to bring this shit up because that's nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. But you look at all of these sexual assaults and sexual allegations that are coming out right now against men in power. And I'm not saying that they're all true, and I'm not saying that they're all false, but people are crucifying these actors and producers and all these people that are being accused right away. You know what I mean? Now,
exactly, man. And then if you look at the Ezekiel Elliott situation last year, he was accused of domestic violence too. And after the details came out, the charges were dropped because apparently the chick he was with, she falsified. It was a false charge because of she wanted to get back at him for something or some shit like that. Right,
and then she refused to testify against him and everything like that. Now, I want to get something clear really quick. Who'd you say you were arguing with? You said that you were on Twitter.
There's a Twitter handle, Niners Nation, has 70,000 followers.
So it was Fooch. So Fooch was saying that he should be cut.
Excuse me?
You said that Niners Nation was saying he should be cut?
Yeah, I'm arguing with him. There's a lot of people on that Twitter handle that are saying that he should be cut. My biggest scare is I feel like this might so many fans, 49ers fans, are saying he should be cut. My biggest scare is John Lynch might get influenced by so many fans.
I think John Lynch shared a locker room with some pretty serious guys. And he shared some locker rooms with some knuckleheads. So I don't think John Lynch is going to jump to conclusions like other people. However, I think that if the Niners do end up cutting him, it's something serious that happened. And so it's going to be something to keep an eye on. I trust John Lynch in this probably more than I would trust any other GM. I can't think of any other players turned GMs. And so that's why I 100% trust John Lynch in this situation. I'm sure he's gotten to his fair share of trouble. Just because you don't get caught doesn't mean you never did shit. You know what I mean? And so I'm sure John Lynch has been in crowds where people were doing some outlandish stuff and they didn't get caught. And so I'm sure he understands what's going on, man. So thank you for your call. What's your name?
If the domestic violence was committed, if it's the Greg Hardy or Ray Wright situation, he should be cut. But we don't know anything yet. We can't jump to conclusions. That's what too many fans don't understand on Twitter.
Well, so here's the other thing too, because if it is domestic violence, you don't have to be cut anymore. They have a scale for the punishment for it. So it's a 6-game thing. for domestic violence for the first instance. And so that's what you got to keep in mind with it, man. But really quick, give us your name, and I want to thank you for calling.
Yeah, Navier Sandu.
You said
California.
Sandu. All right. Thanks for giving us a call, man. All right, I really appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right, be safe. So we had another caller calling in, and I couldn't click over because we had that one there. You can give me a call back. You can give me a call back if you like. I really want to get you back on here. I see Ali popped in. Ali is the king of overreaction. So what's up, man? Give us your take. But the 956 area code, feel free to call back now, right? The line is open.
Hey, how's your evening going, fellas? How you doing?
I'm all right.
But this is extremely concerning, man. This is you got the call coming in?
Yeah, the call's coming. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up again. Sorry.
All right, no problem.
Texas is in the building. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Mike? It's Jesse.
Jesse, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Yourself?
We're good, man. Give us your thoughts on this. I want to know how you're leaning, man. What should we be cutting them right now?
What's up?
Should we be cutting them?
No. No, that's the thing, man. That's I was out all day helping my dad fix my truck and stuff, and then I got on Twitter and realized and I see that this guy, that Ruben Foster, got in trouble again. So then I go on Twitter and I see everybody saying cut him. And I mean, it's kind of stupid because we don't even know what's going on here. We don't have no facts, no details. I'll say this: so the whole I see a lot of even comparisons with the whole Tremaine Brock thing. But only things about that is, in my opinion, I feel like they're trying to get they were looking for a way to get out of that Tremaine Brock contract, and they found a way, so they got out of it. But to say that this guy should be cut, I mean, he's young. He's what, 23?
23. He'll be 24 in May.
He's only 23. And he's still a kid. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I never heard any of this shit happen when he was in Alabama.
He had some issues with Alabama. It was more like issues with authority because he knew how good he was. But I never heard of any kind of violence or anything like that while he was out there, you know?
My point exactly, and you brought up so many good points about, the gun laws being different from, California and Alabama. Why aren't we looking at that? Why aren't we seeing things as happen as they go before it comes to conclusions? That's one thing I want to know.
Yeah, brother. I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I just don't get why we're all so quick to judge. I really, really don't get it, man. I don't know, brother.
And here's another thing, like the whole Zeke thing. In my opinion, the girl was full of shit.
I mean,
that's just my opinion, though.
There's a bunch of opinions going on about the Zeke thing. I know some people who will stick to their guns that he was guilty and he just paid her off, and that's why she suddenly stopped testifying. So, I mean, we're never gonna. The fact of the matter is, none of us are actually gonna know the full truth. None of us are ever gonna know the full truth, and that's what the legal system is for. You let them take care of it in court. You know what I mean? And we go from there. And we got Alex who just typed in a great comment. If you cut Reuben Foster, Sean Payton's waiting for him right there at the county jail.
Yeah, here's another thing. I think it's kind of the whole Alden Smith comparison. It's kind of Alden Smith was already he was in the league for about 4 or 5 years already. When all this stuff was happening.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't understand the person at all, man. There's that. Throw that out the window. That's not better than Foster. I understand, he's getting trouble. It doesn't look good on him, but to start, comparing him to how that guy mentally was not stable. He wasn't right. He needed the help. Ruben Foster's the kid. He's going through all this for the first time, in his life, and he's starting to realize, like, shit, maybe, maybe he's not really thinking too much. Maybe he's not really doing too much thinking, but to compare him to a guy who was, who was an alcoholic, who was known to be an alcoholic, I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Alex, I'm sorry, Jesse. Thanks for giving us a call, man. I hope you keep checking us out, man. All right.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
You too, man. Be safe. Fellas, the floor is back to you guys, man. What's good? All right? I don't know. We're gonna bounce it back to Ali. Go, give us your thoughts, man.
So yeah, like I was saying, this is extremely concerning with Ruben. The marijuana charges alone, to start off with that was a red flag, because that was so short into the offseason and he's already getting into trouble. Now it's February. We have so long to go before any OTAs or anything gets started, and he's already in trouble again. The charges itself, I'm with Nick there. I need to hear more details about it before I make a decision on whether we're cutting him or not. Because Oscar, Better Rivals, made a great tweet. He said that your longevity and your willingness, the team's willingness to keep you, is based on your talent, which is a really good point. So in regards to that, that's what I'm thinking, that we need to hear more details before Lynch and Shanahan make a decision on this. In regards to Reuben Foster's play on the field, he's is he worth the question now is he worth the headache? Is he worth the headache? Because when he's on the field, he's explosive. He is already one of the best inside linebackers in the league. But when he's on the field, he's often injured, and now he has these charges. So it's extremely concerning. I don't know. My question is he worth the headache right now?
Absolutely. He's absolutely worth the headache. He's a 23-year-old kid, made some stupid mistakes right now. I just don't think cutting him is the right way to go. I mean, Mike, I see we got another call coming in, so.
You're on mute, Mike. Mike, you're on mute.
Hey, what's going on? You're on with Nothing But Niners. What's your name?
Yeah, what's up? My name's Brian.
Brian, what's going on, man? How you feeling on the situation?
Man, I'm just sad. Like, I woke up today. It was good day. Jimmy G high, And then now it's just this news coming out. I looked, first thing I saw was on Twitter, and I heard no bail, and I was like, damn. But then they said like $75K, and just a whole bunch of speculation, And I don't know what to think right now. It's sad.
So there's a lot of people saying that
best case scenario is like a 8-10 game ban.
I mean, best case scenario is that he's suspended for 6 games. If they decide to add if they add this domestic violence, wait, hold on. I want to say worst case scenario. I'm sorry, not best case. Best case scenario is that this all gets thrown out and there's nothing. All right. The only thing we're worried about is that little marijuana charge from what happened in Alabama. Yeah. That's best case scenario. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario is still a 6 to 10 game suspension, because they can do the domestic violence plus the marijuana and combine it. He gets suspended for 10 games and then he's back by week, 10, 11. That's worst case scenario. But all this overreaction stuff, cut him and all that stuff, people really got to calm down, man. I really wish I had Fuchs's phone number. I really, really wish I had his contact information right now. I can't believe he's saying that, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
But wouldn't you think worst case scenario is he gets cut out of the league in 2 to 3 years?
No. No. Worst case scenario is the NFL suspends him for 10 games and he's still a 49er. Because Ali just asked a really good question. His talent level. His talent level is going to make a big difference in all of this. And he is already one of the best at his position. It's his rookie year, first year in a new system, and he's already outshining 80% of his constituents. You don't let that talent walk.
Potential to be great.
Right. You don't let that talent walk. And so I think that he'll stick around, but he is going to be on a very, very short leash from now on.
Yeah. What's up with that suspicion of domestic violence?
Yeah,
Seems like a neighbor called him.
That's
or something.
We're all just speculating. I honestly have never heard that charge before in my life. So it sounds like there's no proof of domestic violence. You know what I mean? It's not like they have a bruised person from an altercation. You get what I'm saying? It's not like they have some evidence of even property being damaged. So it's just suspicion of it, like, you know. So it sounds like a phone call, and hey, you guys should check this out. And why are you here? Well, we heard there could be a domestic violence issue going on here.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it. I saw a couple of tweets saying, you know, this is ruining my Jimmy Garoppolo high, or how I feel about Jimmy Garoppolo. Listen, Brian, you're not the only one, bro. But listen, it shouldn't ruin it, because this team has just as much potential with or without Reuben Foster, and I'll tell you why. There's still the draft, there's still free agency, and we still have Jimmy Garoppolo. This team is no longer dependent on the defense to carry us. Nick wants to say something. Oh, did you? Go ahead. Nick wants to pop in. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you can't really replace Ruben Foster. That's like, there's no one too good at linebacker in free agency. The draft, Reuben Smith looks pretty cool. I wanted him either way. Like, him with Ruben Foster would be nasty. That would be like Patrick Willis and Bowman did.
Yeah, I mean, Roquan Smith or even Tremaine Edmonds, but I mean, there's options is what I'm saying, but I just don't think he's going to get cut. But Nick wants to say something to you, Brian. Hold on one second.
Well, I just want to say something to everybody, just so everybody knows. So supposedly police had called back. They returned a phone call, and they were dispatched to Los Gatos home for reports of a domestic disturbance. The reported victim, a woman with whom Foster has been in a long-term relationship, described to officers an assault that followed an argument that erupted between the two. In the course of police response, officers located what appeared to be an assault rifle inside the home. So it's a domestic violence with a longtime girlfriend, and there was a possession of rifle inside the home. So
do me a favor and read that one more time for me, please.
All right. The reported victim, a woman with whom Foster has been in a long-term relationship, described to officers an assault that followed an argument that erupted between the two. In the course of the police response, officers located what appeared to be an assault rifle inside the home.
Okay. All right. So, I think we lost Brian. Yeah, I think Brian's done. All right. So what this sounds like.
That's from Robert Salaga and Cam Inman off of Mercury News, just so everybody knows where that came from.
Right. So it's exactly what happened. A phone call was placed. There's an argument going on. So I was going to be very stereotypical, but I'm not going to do it. But husband and wife get into an argument. Boyfriend and girlfriend get into an argument. Woman gets in his face. He's talking his shit. She's talking her shit. He's like, hey, get out my face. Get out my face. He pushes her out the way. Guess what, guys? That is assault. That's assault. Okay? So here's the thing. It's suspicion of assault because they can't prove he put his hands on her. Otherwise, it would be assault or domestic violence. You get what I'm saying? It's suspicion because they can't prove that he actually put his hands on her. And they searched the house and they found a gun, which is probably legally his. So it seems to me like we're all overreacting, but that could be me making excuses. I want to let you guys, you and Nick and Ali, you guys can get back to your banter. And again, Brian, thanks for calling, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. So I want while you guys were doing that, I want to play a quick scenario. So I want directly, forget all the charges and everything aside, directly related to the team on the field. Worst case scenario and best case scenario. Okay? So I would like to get both of your opinions on that. And if anybody who's calling in, they feel free to give your just directly related to the team on the field. Worst case scenario, best case scenario. So as far as Foster goes.
Best case scenario is This entire thing gets thrown out. So they were in an argument. They were passionate. You know, things got heated, whether he pushed her or he didn't. She called the cops. The cops came. They arrested him. He posed bail. Now it has to go to court. If she decides, if it's a longtime girlfriend, guess what? She knows he's about to get paid. And you want me to be real? I'm going to be real with you. She knows he's about to get paid. She's not going to try to get him locked up. She's not going to ruin his career. One, she cares and loves him. Two, she knows what he's financially worth. They're going to work this shit out. It gets thrown out. This never happened. The weapon was registered to him. There's no big deal. He just hasn't transferred it over yet. He'll get a slap on the wrist for that. And what he's suspended for is for the marijuana possession in Alabama. We're looking at a 2 to 4 game suspension. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is he actually hit her. They find evidence of it. We're back to a 10-game scenario where he's suspended. That's it. That's it.
I say worst case scenario is he's cut.
Why would they cut him when they have specific rules in place for this?
I mean, I don't think
this is his second strike, man.
I mean, yeah, but really, I mean, is it his second strike, really? I mean, nothing happened with the first strike.
You could argue this is his fourth strike.
What, because of the combine?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not cutting a guy that's 23 years old.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not taking.
I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm not cutting a guy.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I'm not cutting him. I mean, he has too much talent. He's too young. He needs to learn the ways of the NFL. He needs to learn ways of life. My worst case scenario and best case scenario, best case is going to match up with Mike's probably 2-game suspension, maybe a 4-game suspension. And he didn't touch his girlfriend. And the gun charge is just something that was inside the home. Which could still, if it's not registered to him, it could still be a different charge if it's not registered to anybody in that household. We didn't think about that either. But best case scenario, he doesn't touch his girlfriend. He gets 2-game suspension. Worst case scenario, gets an 8 to 10-game suspension. He did put his hands on his wife or girlfriend, whatever you want to call it.
Allegedly.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Whatever you want to say, allegedly. And he gets cut. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. He gets cut. He gets a suspension, cut, and he hit the old lady. So, not an old lady, but you know what I mean.
My best case scenario right now is getting this guy some help. Like we need. This is the problem when it's a very young defense. And this is a problem. You don't have that mentor. And this is going back to the Bowman situation. Bowman and him never clicked. And Bowman could have been that mentor for this guy. There's no guy to take Reuben under his wing and be like, this is the way you got to be in the NFL. This is the way you got to do shit. In Santa Clara, they could have been working out together. But like, yo, Reuben, what are you doing tomorrow night? You want to get away. If you're having problems with your girlfriend, come over, man. We'll play some Madden. We'll work out. We'll go swimming. We'll do some shit. I don't know, man. Like, this is why you need someone like that. And this is a problem with that young defense. And so my best case scenario right now is him, still getting a suspension. I think he needs a suspension to let it register, because it's obviously not clicking with this guy. He needs a suspension, and he needs to get a mentor, even if it's a retired player, even if it's someone needs to get in this guy and be with this guy on a more regular basis. There's obviously a lack of thinking going on with him, man. He doesn't have the filter that normal people have to process this stuff, that says, you know what, maybe this isn't right. Maybe this isn't the way I go about this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I was saying that to Mike before you came in, was that I feel bad for Reuben because there is nobody. He is a leader on the field now. There is nobody higher than him leader-wise to teach him the ropes of becoming an NFL star.
Hold on. We're making assumptions in saying that. Okay, D'Amico Ryans is on the staff for a reason. All right, we can't just assume that he has no guidance at all. John Lynch is a former player. D'Amico Ryans is our linebackers coach. All right, and D'Amico Ryans wasn't playing too long ago. We can't just sit here and assume that this guy is just some lost, with no father, no mother, and just been out on his own in the mean streets of Alabama. You know what I mean? We're making a lot of assumptions here, and then so does the guy need some help? Does he need some more guidance? Absolutely, but we can't assume that there's none, and we don't know what happened tonight. It could have been just like we said, an argument. It could have literally just been an argument that went too far. And let me tell you guys, both of my parents, my mom and my father, are not together. But my mom was married to my stepfather, and she was in an abusive relationship. And I watched that kind of stuff happen. And I've seen my mom pick up the phone, call the cops because my stepfather had too much to drink. And the cops come, they start questioning him, and he'll say, "Did you put your hands on her?" He said, "Well, when I walked out the room, I pushed her with my arm." I see the phone call. Give me 1 second, caller. Give me 1 second to finish saying what I'm saying. So my stepfather, yeah, I touched her with my arm when I walked out of the room. He says, "You did touch her." Hold on 1 second, caller. Give me 1 second. So he says, "Yeah, I did touch her when I walked out of the room." He was like, "So, sir, you're confirming that you touched her?" He says, "Yeah, but I didn't hit her, but you did touch her, right?" Yes. They put him in handcuffs. So that's how you end up with a suspicion of domestic violence, and that's how there's a question here. If they couldn't prove it, why was bail set at $75,000? Because if Reuben Foster says, "Yes, I did touch her, but I didn't hit her," that's domestic violence. It's an argument going too far, and he said the wrong words, and the police felt like being a dick. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that there are possibilities for all this stuff. All right, so let's get to this caller really quick. Caller, what's going on? Can you give us your name, please?
My name is Eric.
Alec, are you the one? Are you in the room writing everything in the comments?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right. Give us your thoughts on all of this.
Disappointing, especially because of all the positives of Jimmy G getting signed. But you hope that maybe he can learn. But right now, that's you get flashbacks to Alden Smith. A guy with immense talent, and I know that's what people are going to say. And you try not to compare the two because they're two different cases, two different players. But it's hard for a fan not to go back that way. My only thing I hope for the 49ers, because that's personal and you hope justice is served and everything, but as a 49ers fan, I hope that this is a really good lesson for John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that, when you love a guy but there's flags, to always just be sure, these guys are rookies, Shanahan and Lynch. And, you hope that they learn a lesson in this when the next player comes around, to make sure you get the talented guy, but, also be mindful of issues that come up with the player.
Right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, man. But I mean, we still have to. There's a lot that has to still be uncovered. Nick read something. That there was they got to the issue, and his girlfriend called the cops, and that's when they found a gun in the house. So there is something there. We can't sit here and pretend like nothing at all happened, but we still got to wait for the fine details to come out and to see if she's going to press charges. Also, because when there is an altercation or an argument at a home between a husband and wife, once the police show up, if that woman feels like she wants him to leave, the cops take him away. They tell him, "You got to get out the house." You know what I mean? So there's a lot that's going on. If he ended up saying, "Yeah, I pushed her or whatever, but I didn't hit her or I didn't punch her," that's enough to be picked and locked up. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's the definition of whether you decide you have to cut this player or whether this player you feel like needs to be maybe have counseling, marriage counseling, and counseling, to help him handle situations better. You look at the facts as far as what the Niners are going to do and what everyone's going to do. People are saying they're cut him. It's like, well, like you said, you got to let the facts come out. But, I think the NFL's pretty cut and dry with this one. I think he's probably going to be on 6 games, and it forces the Niners to have to look at linebacker, maybe not draft in the first round, but still have to invest either free agent money or a draft pick. And they traded up to get him, so they gave up other draft picks for him. And all you hope is that this is something, like you said, that when the facts come out, we see it's a big deal. I shouldn't say it like that, but we see that it wasn't like he beat her. It wasn't some the defensive end for the Dallas. It wasn't something like that.
Justin Hardy.
He's just a malcontent. You know, you have something where he can get help counseling. He serves whatever punishment by the law and by the NFL. And if the Niners feel they need to suspend him on top of that and get him straight so that he's not doing this for his own personal life and can be a productive member of this team. Because the big picture is that it's a bump in the road, and you just hope he learns from it.
Absolutely, man. What we should be hoping for this young man to better his lifestyle, no matter what it is. That's what we should be hoping for.
Yeah.
Alec, man, thank you for giving us a call, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you guys.
Take care. All right, so there's a comment in this room that I have to read. It's from Herka Durka. And he's listing off the incidences, or the strikes that you can say for Reuben Foster. He says, 1, combine exam incident. 2, diluted sample. 3, vape-sponsored party. That's not an incident. 4, strange nightclub incident. That's not an incident. That involved him and a fellow teammate and someone trying to get their jewelry or something like that. 5, pot bust. That's an incident. And 6, what's happening today. That's an incident. So if you're looking at all of that from the time he was done college football, I think the combine exam incident and the diluted sample are the same thing, aren't they? Wasn't that all in the same thing, and that's why he flipped out, or were those 2 separate things? They were 2 separate things?
I think those were 2 separate things.
I thought he flipped out at the combine because they said his sample was diluted or it was a bad drug test.
No, I don't think so.
He got pissed off because the doctors were taking too long.
Yeah.
That was one incident. And then the other one was a diluted sample.
There was 2 incidents, okay. You're right.
All right. So following college, we're looking at 4 things already. 4 things. So it's not to say that this young man has his shit together, because he clearly doesn't. But you know, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. I'm gonna give the floor.
You know, Mike. So I just want to say this because one person couldn't call in, but excuse me. Romal Moore on our Twitter account said, "I'm praying everyone involved finds the support they need. Also, I hope that Reuben remains a 49er. People need help and chances. Either way, I will root for him as a person to grow, learn, and succeed."
Absolutely, as we all should. We all should. Hey, I'm gonna jump on Twitter real quick. I'm gonna see if I can get Fooch to call in. I have not seen Niners Nation telling people that we should cut him, but if that's the case, I got a problem with that. I wanna see what he's got to say. So you guys go ahead and you guys chat it up. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself while I do this.
So Ali, you're saying you would cut him right now?
No.
Oh, you're not saying that. All right. I was gonna say, holy cow, I wouldn't say cut him, but
you know, like I said, I want to get all the more details, and I want to see Lynch's statement. And I don't think the first thing I don't think the first thing we're gonna wake up tomorrow is the 49ers cut Reuben Foster. That won't be it. I just want this kid to get some help, man. You talk to this guy, or you not talk to him, but you see interviews, you see videos, you see things. He's the most likable guy. One of the most likable guys I've ever seen without personally knowing. On watching, you can just tell that he's just a likable kid. You know, I was watching something, I can't remember what it might have been an Instagram live video, and he was with Tim Ryan, and they were getting some Texas barbecue or something like that. And you know, just a good guy, man. Just, you know, he was answering questions from the fans. Him and Tim were kicking it, and just just things like that. He's a good kid. He just doesn't have, like I said, he doesn't have the filter, and he's surrounding himself with he's obviously not surrounding himself with the right people or making the right decisions, obviously. I'm just puzzled, man. I'm like, the percentage of people that get into the NFL and you get your shot, why do you ruin it, man? Like I don't understand. Like people would kill for this chance, and this guy is continually done things to put the 49ers in a position that they shouldn't be in as a team. You know, what are your thoughts on it?
And that's where I agree with you on, is because what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's motto is that we want people who put the team before themselves. Reuben Foster hasn't done that in the last month. He's put himself in front of the entire team. He's putting the team. This is what I say is going back to a brand type thing. You know what I mean? Like, you have to protect the brand. And even though Reuben Foster is his own person, he is still a 49er and represents the 49ers. So making these types of decisions and things that come out of his mouth or his actions or his words or what he speaks ultimately falls back on John Lynch, the San Francisco 49ers, and all other teammates. So that's the only thing that worries me with this whole situation, is because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, when they first came in, they said, not necessarily do we want the best players, but we want the best players that are going to put their team before themselves. You've even seen videos of them breaking down in a locker room, you know, basically saying the team before everything else. Put the team first.
What they consistently say is protect the team.
Right. Protect the team. Exactly. And Ruben has to learn that concept. If he's going to end up being, if he wants to make tons and tons of money, which athletically he will be able to do, he has to get his mind straight and get things situated and be able to be that type of person to make millions of dollars and to be a Pro Football Hall of Fame type of player. Athletically, he has it, but he's got to have it mindful too. He's got to be mindful of what's going around or going on around him. He has to be more secure with his actions.
So I've been looking through Fuchs's tweets and all, and I'm not quite sure he's saying that they should cut him. He's also not saying that they shouldn't. So what he's comparing this to is when Tremaine Brock, who was with this regime, I made a mistake. It was not Trent Baalke. It was this regime. Tremaine Brock was on the roster. Friday night, he was accused and arrested for domestic violence, and they cut him Saturday. And so he was drawing a parallel, saying that this is how they dealt with this situation in the past, and they don't take kindly to it. Someone said to him, "You're not giving him the benefit of the doubt." And then Fuchs is responding, or Niners Nation is responding, saying, "What makes you think he deserves the benefit of the doubt?" Now, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. However, that's his opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I respect that. But one thing.
Sorry to interrupt you. Someone just said in the chat, update on Reuben Foster. Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office says he is in the process of being released.
Yeah,
So
that was reported a while ago by Jennifer Lee Chan. She said once the bail was set at $75,000, he was in the process of posting and processing. So I mean that's been ongoing for a while. He's going to get out soon. But back to this whole thing with Fuchs, it's more about someone deserving the benefit of the doubt. No one deserves the benefit of the doubt. Everyone deserves due process. And I think that's the difference here. If he's guilty and he did it, fine. Punish him, cut him, whatever it is that you got to do. But if he didn't, there's no need to overreact either. There's nothing worse than an innocent man being punished for some shit that he didn't do. And that's what I think we should try to avoid here. You know what I mean? It's that simple. Yes, Rob said exactly where I was going. Adrian Peterson got into this thing with his son, and, you know, they put him on the commissioner's exempt list, right? He still got paid, but he wasn't playing. And that's something that this team is absolutely capable of doing. You know what I mean? That's something that this team could and should consider, the exempt list, until things are figured out. Now, Adrian Peterson's incident rolled into the regular season. I can promise you this ain't going to take that long. So the exempt list is probably not going to be an option at this time. That's for things that happen during the season. But it's something to think about. It's something that the Niners have in their back pocket if they need to use it. So, you know, it is that. All right. Anything else, guys? You guys good?
You make a perfect example there about the domestic violence with Adrian Peterson's son. I mean, you know, ultimately we really have to sit back. We have to wait and we have to see what comes out. What he's charged with, if he's even charged with anything, which I just don't understand why it's so much if it's suspicion. Like, I just don't that's the thing I don't get right now. Like, I think
50,000 is the minimum, right? And then the 25,000 is for the gun.
I got a question for you guys. Do you guys think that, so he was arrested in Santa Clara, he was in Alabama. Do you think that Lynch and Shanahan, once he got arrested for marijuana possession in Alabama, do you think Lynch said, you got to come back out here? And, you know, we you know, like, we want to keep an eye on you out here. Do you guys think that they told him, like, you know, like, you got to leave Alabama, you guys got to come out here, and we're going to try and keep an eye on you out here?
Nick, I'll let you take this first.
I mean, it's quite possible. It's quite possible that he's, you know, maybe said, look, come out here, get some help for this, or let us help you, or things like that. But I mean, it ultimately comes down to whether he did that or not. It ultimately comes down to Reuben Foster and his actions of what decision he makes. I mean, he's got to be responsible for his own decisions. Whether John Lynch said, come out here, we're going to get you help, or not, he's ultimately responsible for his own decisions and his own mistakes. So I just want to see what the actual cause of this is and what people are saying, or, you know, because it's all up in the air right now. None of us are sure. We're all speculating because of reports. And like Mike said, it could have just been easily he tried to get through a doorway, or he tried to slide past her and his shoulder hit her, and she said that he pushed her. Or, you know, it could be some nonsense bullshit story that he just had to pay all this money, you know, to get out, and it's nothing. It's nothing. Or a neighbor heard them yelling and screaming and called the cops. The cops came and there was a gun in the apartment, and once the cops are called for a domestic, somebody is getting arrested. No matter what happens, somebody is getting arrested. It doesn't matter if you've done nothing or anything, because once the cops are called for a domestic violence, their rules are somebody has to leave there in handcuffs. Somebody is getting arrested for the call, for because that's something that this world does not mess around with anymore, is domestic violence. Once that call comes across the radio, and I know it is in here in the state of New Jersey. I know it's like that in the state of Florida, but mainly I know in New Jersey because of the fact of how much I worked with the police officers, being a fireman and a medic. Anytime a domestic call is called, is somebody's getting arrested. It doesn't matter if you did anything or not. And you automatically get charged with that, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, here's what we don't know, and that's fine details. Here's what we do know. It was suspicion of domestic violence. That was the official charge, right? So what that does tell us is that there was no evidence, no physical evidence that he hit her or that he pushed her. That's where we should stop with this, man. We can speculate and we can go back and forth all day. I think we spent enough time on here discussing this. Faithfuls, man, I want to encourage you guys, man, don't hang your heads today. Do not hang your heads. The 49ers are still top 10 favorites to win the Super Bowl next year, guys. We still have our quarterback. And as of this very moment, we still have this young stud on our roster. All right. And listen, if he's guilty, he will be punished and treated with accordingly. All right. If he's innocent, we're going to let this pass water under the bridge. Whatever it is, we need to be patient. We need to be mindful and respectful, man. I don't want to see any more of that bullshit burning of jerseys. By the way, fake jerseys, okay? Because I saw the 3 stripes on there, all right? Reuben Foster jerseys, the real ones don't have 3 stripes. They only got 2. But I'm not going to put your business out there. But I don't want to see any more burning of jerseys and shit like that, man. You want to do stuff like that, man, donate it to somebody. Let someone else who is without have that jersey. Don't burn your stuff, man. That's selfish. That's the most American privilege bullshit I've ever seen in my life, the burning of good clothing. I don't care if it's a jersey or not. Don't do that kind of shit, guys. The team is still in good hands. I trust John Lynch 100%. If he decides that he wants to suspend this young man, if he wants to cut him, I trust John Lynch 100% because of his experience within a locker room. I said that long ago in this, and I stand firm on that. If this is something that John Lynch says, you know what, I was a young knucklehead at one time, and I've been in a similar situation, we're going to suspend you, and on top of what the team did, that's fine. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. We're going to take this last phone call, and I think we should be out. All right? So we're going to take this last call here. You are on with Nothing But Niners. What's your name?
This is Cinnamon Kiss.
Cinemonkeys.
How you guys doing?
We're all right. How are you doing?
This is so depressing. I mean, we just came off of great news with Jimmy G, and now Ruben. It's just such a shock. But, you know, first of all, we don't know what happened. So I'm trying not to pass too much judgment. But if all this is really true, I just feel really bad for him that he had nobody in his life to give him guidance and show him you just can't do this stuff and get a successful NFL player. His career is up in smoke.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. If it's you said if it's true, you feel bad for him, right? I respect that. But the thing is, the police were there to speak to him and the female involved in this incident, and they arrested him on suspicion. So there's no physical damage to her body. They couldn't find a single scratch or cut or bruise or anything. Hold on. Wait, Nick wants to chime in. Hold on 1 second.
Mike, I was just looking in the chat, and it said that California is a must-arrest state for domestic violence.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, it goes to what you were just saying, that once that phone call is placed and the police show up, someone has to go. Someone has to go. All right. And so 9 out of 10 times, it's the male. I do think police were called. I do think there was a heated argument. That's some very dark water you're drinking there, Nick. I do think police were called. I do think there was a heated argument. What I don't think is that he was walking around using his girlfriend as a punching bag. The statement that Nick read was that the police later searched the house and found the rifle. They have not said whether or not that rifle was registered to him in Alabama and whether or not those was transferred from Alabama to California or what. They haven't confirmed that it was even his rifle. So there's a lot of question marks still going on with this, Sin. We just don't know what to expect yet. But I want to ask you, are you of the mindset that we should be cutting this guy because of all the strikes against him already?
I just don't know. I mean, I just don't have enough information to make that call. I mean, I think right now I'm just thinking, you know, if you're playing in the NFL, you gotta be able to spot trouble before it happens, I think. Now, there's sometimes you get in arguments or whatever, but I think that people should be able to conduct themselves in a way that they could really avoid these types of situations. And I'm not saying everything is avoidable, but when you have somebody that gets arrested twice in the same month, you gotta question that person's judgment at minimum.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, to be in situations where you have handcuffs on twice in a month's time, it's alarming. It's absolutely alarming. So like I said, I can't sugarcoat it for people and say that he's completely innocent. It's clear that he's putting himself in bad situations, right? But
that at minimum.
Right. We just don't know the extent of what all is going on. So we got to be patient. We got to ride it out, but don't let this get you down. Don't let this discourage you or change how you felt about this team going into this upcoming season, because it's not going to change a thing. I think that the only way Reuben Foster gets cut is if he was really beating this young lady. And I think if that was the case, it wouldn't be suspicion of domestic violence. It would be straight up domestic violence. I think that the team encouraged him to uproot from Alabama and come west, which is what Ali was asking. And I think that's why he's here, and that's why he was with his girlfriend, his long-term girlfriend. This wasn't just some random girl either. According to the statement that Nick read, this is a long-time girlfriend. So she came from Alabama to be here with him. So I'm just saying, it's not like this young man was out at a nightclub with some strange young woman that, he had just met or anything like that. He was home. They got into an argument. Police were called, and this is what happens. And because he's a celebrity, or because he's a football player, because he's a black football player, because he's a rookie who already had a prior arrest this year, it's going to make headlines. And we're going to do exactly what we're doing, which is overreacting in some instances. And we're going to put this under a microscope. We're not just going to pay attention to it. We're not just going to look at it through our regular optical views. You know what I mean? We're going to sit here. We're going to put this under a microscope, not a magnifying glass, a microscope. And we are sitting here trying to wait for the next little tiny piece of news to suggest one way or the other what he did. And that's just what's going to happen. Because if the police were called on me, you guys wouldn't know it unless Nick tweeted something about it. And no one's going to be like, oh, Mike beat the shit out of his wife, or you know what I mean? Or Mike did this, or Mike did that. It's going to be Mike's not available for a while. We'll get back to you with him as soon as we can, because I'm not in that spotlight. So it all is, we're overreacting to it in a sense because of who he is and what he does for a living. But at the same time, like you said, this is twice in a month, man. So the reason for concern is there. I think the concern should be about his decision-making, like you said, not so much about what he's doing. It's the situations he's leaving himself apt to be in. So,
right.
Good call, Sam.
Use a little better judgment, because twice in a month is not looking good. Once, maybe, but twice in a month, you gotta start looking in the mirror. That's all I'm saying. I don't know all the details of what happened. I'm sure those are going to come out. But that's just my initial reaction. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you there. Thank you so much for taking your time to call in. We really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for everything you guys do.
No problem. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Yeah. Bye. I got her to say go Niners. I'm happy.
Cinnamon Kiss has been with us since the start, man. I love it. That's awesome. Appreciate everything she does too. So, yeah, Mike, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people out there saying that, the courts are for due justice, and not a small private organization like the 49ers, that Reuben Foster just needs to be cut.
Due process, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens, man. Like I said, I trust John Lynch to handle this. And that's it. I'm gonna ride out with John Lynch, man. And John Lynch, I trust. What'd you say, Ali? I'm sorry.
It will come down to the girlfriend. They'll ask her, do you want to press charges? Do you want to see this through? And you made a very good point. You're like, she has been with him for a long time. That's point number one. Point number two, she knows this guy is a top 5 middle linebacker in the league. Point number three, he is expecting a lot of money soon. Point number 4, she doesn't want to mess that up. He's a cash cow.
Yeah, but on the other end too, you also don't want her life in the hands of somebody who beats her either. So if that's the true things, you don't want her to.
Of course. But again, that's bringing it back to whether what exactly happened, right?
Right. If something really happened, God bless her soul. Hopefully he gets it taken care of. If he did really do it, he deserves to be cut. He really does.
I agree.
Yeah, so,
there's no tolerance for that. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. You lay your hands on a woman, you deserve to be punished according to the law, and you deserve to not be able to live out your dream of what your professional career. You know,
I disagree with that. I strongly disagree with that. I disagree with that so much. If a team chooses to cut him, fine. But if I go in the living room right now and I punch my wife in the mouth, I'll get arrested. I'll do my time, and my job is going to hold my position. Nowhere else in the world does domestic violence mean you lose your job. I've never heard that before in my life.
In the NFL, it does.
Why? The NFL is a business. It does not mean that. In the NFL, it means you're suspended for 6 games. That's it. Doesn't mean you lose your job. You're
Ray
suspended
Rice
for 6
did.
games. Ray Rice did because that was a judgment call on them. I didn't agree with Ray Rice being blackballed from the league. I didn't agree with that either. What I'm saying is, nowhere else in the world, in this country, I won't say in the world, nowhere else in this country, well, in the United States, because I know you're in Canada, nowhere else in the United States does a man get into a fight and lose his job, his career, his livelihood is all of a sudden thrown up in smoke. What's up, Nick?
If you're charged with domestic violence, you get fired from the fire department and the police department. If you are strictly charged and literally charged with it, you get fired.
I stand corrected.
You cannot be a police officer firsthand with a domestic violence charge. That now I'm saying if you are literally charged with it, not booked on it, found guilty, you are getting fired from a fire department.
Wait. So if you're charged with it or if you're convicted?
Convicted.
Oh, okay.
Convicted.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have to pay a fine or go to jail or anything like that, you're fired. You lost your job. There's no ands, ifs, or buts.
Okay. But the NFL is not that place. The NFL is a six game suspension place. That's their rule.
Well, they have rules. Yeah, they have rules behind it. I'm just saying that's a police department. I mean, why would you want a police officer who's charged with?
I don't know though, because look at his history. His history, his rap sheet is big.
Yeah,
so
but there's
I know his talent.
Wait. Rap sheet and
there's differences between those types of things. They're not going to hold his weed charge against him for the same thing they're going to hold as a domestic charge. They have things in place for that domestic. If a domestic happens, this is what the league does. This is your suspension. This is what you do. This is the fine. They can't say, "Oh, well, you were caught up with drugs, and on top of that, you got a domestic violence charge, and this." Like, they have to look at it as they can't charge you for 3 different things 3 different times. I mean, it all has to be. I see what you're saying, Ali. I see what you're saying there.
Right. So
I don't think
if he does, they in the NFL they do like, so. All right, you smoke weed, 2 game suspension. You smoke weed again because it's your second offense. Now you're up to a 6 game suspension. They do compound it based off of the number of incidents. So I don't know if they do domestic violence and drugs.
No, but what I'm saying is they can't take that other charge when the NFL did nothing to him before, and now that he has another charge, bring that charge in with it. They have to approach it when it happens. Like, I can't say, "Hey, Mike, 5 years ago you punched your girlfriend in the face, but I didn't catch up with you then, and now you have a domestic charge with your new girlfriend. I'm going to charge you with your old girlfriend too."
That's a good point.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if they didn't do anything about him getting arrested earlier this month or whatever it was, the NFL itself, they can't hold that against him now. They can't say, "Oh, this is your second offense," because it's not.
They can if it's still pending. We don't know that the NFL has thrown that out yet. We haven't seen a suspension because we're not in the season yet. He could still very well be suspended for that marijuana thing.
No, what I'm saying is, Mike, the NFL can't go off of instances of what happened to you. They can't say this is your second offense because guess what? With the NFL, it's his first offense. The NFL never charged him with an offense. You see what I'm trying to say?
No.
So, all right. So if the NFL charged him with the weed stuff, right? And they said this is your warning,
which is still but that's still under investigation. That hasn't been completely thrown out. We just don't have a verdict on that yet.
Well, that we know of. The NFL could have not taken anything with it because we don't even know what the charges were. So all I'm trying to say is they can't say, okay, well, this is your second offense. When the NFL did, like Josh Gordon, he's had like 4 offenses. Or
right, but
how many ever?
What you're saying is not true though, because Roger Goodell literally does that himself. Roger Goodell, listen, with the Zeke Elliott thing, there was no case. The girl refused to testify. Roger Goodell reviewed what he thought was his evidence and said, you know what? I know it didn't go to court. I know she didn't testify against you and nothing legally happened, but I think you did it and you're suspended for 6 games. The NFL can literally do that. That's what they do.
I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm disagreeing with you as just because he has another charge that the NFL needs to look at, they can't go back and say, we're going to put this weed charge in and now it's your second offense with the NFL. That's all I'm trying to say.
But I think I get what you're saying, but I'm saying that I don't think you're right on that. You're telling me that the weed charge is not going to all right. You're telling me that the weed charge is not going to have any bearing on how long his suspension is for this domestic violence incident?
It shouldn't. It's 2 different incidents.
But it's strikes. Like that's the thing.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't know if he actually got a strike from the NFL. You can't say this is your second offense if we don't even know if he got a first strike through the NFL.
Right, but we know it's still pending. We know that the weed thing is still pending. Now this is another pending incident.
How do we know that?
Because the NFL hasn't said.
When was the last time you heard anything about it?
It's still under investigation. The case isn't done in Alabama yet.
All right, so this brings up my point from the other night, right? There's paperwork sitting on Roger Goodell's desk about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another sheet that's down there. Yeah. He can still get it, but we got to see how long it's going to take for it to happen. That's all.
Oh, by the way, that Aaron Rodgers thing, in regards to your question, if he has to be cut from the Packers, he has to go through waivers.
See? So other teams can claim him.
So other teams will claim him with his current contract. So Cleveland is number 1 in waivers right now. They would.
He doesn't have a contract though. He's a free agent after this year.
So
on his current contract right now, he has 1 year left, right?
Yeah, he's
up this year.
No, I believe he has 1 year left. I'm pretty sure he has 1 year left.
This year that's coming is his last year under contract.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So under this contract, I was talking about this last night. Cleveland is first in waiver priority, and I believe they will claim him. Obviously, they'll claim him, so he has to go through waivers.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. So for those of you who don't know, we did a quick podcast. We're almost done, guys. Thank you guys for sticking with us and chatting it up. I see a lot of stuff going on in the chat over here. What we're talking about is that the Green Bay Packers violated an NFL what's the list called?
IR.
The IR list. They violated the rule, and what that is if you place a player on IR and he comes back and he plays or he doesn't play, and then you put him back on IR and there is no new injury, that player must be cut. And so the Packers did that with Aaron Rodgers. He came back from his injury. It was a collarbone. He came back from the collarbone thing. He played and lost in that one game that he played, and because they were eliminated from the playoffs, they just put him back on IR so he didn't have to finish out the rest of the season. Based off of the rule that is there in the books, Aaron Rodgers must be cut by the Green Bay Packers. So that's what we're talking about for those of you guys who don't know. But listen, I think that to get back to this Reuben Foster thing, and this is nothing but Niners talk, guys. I think we should go ahead and wrap this thing up. I don't know. It looks like Nick is researching something, so I don't know if you're looking up something or what. But I am done. I don't have much else to say. I am going to go shoot some zombies. I guess it's not the right time to talk about shooting something, right? But whatever. I'm going to go shoot some zombies unless my wife wants to watch something on TV. Either way, I will be shooting something tonight before I fall asleep. If you guys want to get on PS4, holla at your boy.
This is no joke though, man. This is extremely disappointing. This is extremely concerning, and I understand people's overreaction on Twitter. Like as soon as I heard it, I felt it. Like,
No.
I was gutted. I looked at my phone. I saw it. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, listen, you know what I mean? And
the overreaction is very different than what we have right now. After Nick read that thing about the police went to the house because the girlfriend called and he was picked up from there, that's different. We didn't even have that much information. The only information we had at the time on Twitter was suspicion of domestic violence. And people were saying, Alvin Smith 2.0, cut him, burning jerseys. That's fucking overreacting.
I'm not on board with the jersey burning, but I understand people's overreaction. I understand it because they're taking into factors of his previous stuff. You know what I mean? That's what it is. If this was his isolated incident, they would be like, okay, let's wait, let's hear everything, let's think. It's the combine, it's everything. It's everything with him. And to believe it or not, a little bit of it is his injuries, whether you want to admit it or not. A little bit of it is his injuries too.
Well, I'm not worried about his injuries. I mean, he missed the beginning part of the season or earlier on, but he didn't miss any more games after that. So I'm comfortable with him and his health. I think the kid's back, and I think he's going to put on more weight, so we don't even have to worry about what was happening. The stingers. So Nick, you want to wrap this thing up, man? What's up?
Yeah, man, that's fine. I'm good. Ali, thanks for jumping on with us, guys, buddy. But also to all the people that called in, really appreciate it. If you haven't checked out the latest podcast, that's up and running at the iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, all the podcast places you want us to be. Just look for Talk 49ers W/ Nothing But Niners NBN. Also find us on Twitter, Nothing But 9ERS, as well as Snapchat, Nothing But 9ERS, as well as Instagram, Nothing But Niners, Facebook, Nothing But Niners, and everything else is www.nothingbutniners.com. Ali, what's up, buddy?
Last question. Does this change our draft plans?
I think it does.
I'll answer for you.
I don't think in the first round.
I'll answer it for you. The good thing is that this is happening right now. It's February. The draft isn't until April. We have plenty of time to find out what the verdict is going to be on this specific issue. And so because of that, we're going to know if he's going to be cut or not. If he's not cut, it doesn't change our draft plans. If he's suspended or if this is all just thrown out, it's not going to change our draft plans. But if he's cut, then yes, it does change our draft plans.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't think he's going to be cut. So I don't think it really affects us. I think Brock Hoyle will get re-signed now, and just for backup type thing. And Malcolm Smith will be returning.
That's a huge name right there.
What's that?
That's a huge name right there. He becomes a lot more of an important player right now for this team.
Yeah, definitely.
Going forward into next year, this is a player that, to be honest, we're looking at Foster being out 6 to 8 games, depending on what happens with both charges. But that's someone that we could be looking at the leader of the defense, calling plays, and someone that is going to be in the middle of that defense. So that's a big name to watch out for right now.
Yep. So, Mike, you got anything else? All right, guys, make sure you check out the newest articles, everything on nothingbutniners.com, all the other places that you can follow us. And we should have some more videos coming up to you about in this next couple of days or so. And check out that latest podcast me and Mike dropped the other night. Above all else, stay faithful. We out.